all the millions of animal species on Earth are armed with a weapon of some kind, deployed to catch their prey, evade a hunter, or secure a mate. This weaponry gives animals the edge they need to endure. Finely tuned over millions of years of evolution, only the strongest contenders remain fighting in the battle for survival. Nowhere else are animals more exposed in their struggle than on vast open plains and blistering deserts. Out here, there is nowhere to hide. From the elements and from each other. The arena of some of nature's biggest battles and fiercest competitors in the world's great animal arms race. A female cheetah on the prowl. Her weapon is extreme speed. With a slight build, flexible spine, long legs and huge heart and lungs, her top speed is 93 kilometers per hour, the fastest hunter on land. Yet out in the open, even she has little hope of success. Her home is the vast plains of the African savanna. Here, prey is plentiful, but they can detect threats from miles away, and are either equipped to fight or built to flee. Predators cannot rely on physical prowess alone. They also need a game plan. First, the cheetah uses the tall summer grass as cover. Her target is a nearby herd of Thompson's gazelle, her favorite prey. Yet the gazelle are in an open patch. Armed with acute hearing and sharp noses, they're on the lookout for trouble. If spooked, they can take off at speeds up to 77 kilometers an hour. Slower than a cheetah, but only over a short distance. The hunter can maintain her top speed for just 10 seconds. So she must inch closer. "50 meters out from the gazelle, she enters the strike zone." Not even close. More weapons are deployed for the battles between predator and prey than for any other event in the natural world. But one side always has to lose. And surprisingly, it's usually the hunters. Soon the cheetah will be desperate because she has a new generation of warriors to feed. Her cubs are only 3 weeks old and still completely dependent on her. It will take 2 years to fully train them up to competent hunters, a huge investment that will take its toll on their mother. Many predators put extraordinary amounts of time and energy into preparing their young for the battlefield. The animals they prey on, however, must be ready to run for their lives in a matter of minutes. Within an hour of birth, all hoofed animals are up and walking. The urge to keep up with the herd is strong, for on the African plains, there is always safety in numbers. It's a defensive strategy which drives some of the largest gatherings of animals on the planet. A herd creates confusion during an ambush and minimizes the risk of any one individual coming under attack. Even elephants, the largest land animals in the world, form groups. Especially to protect their young. Zebra foals are raised in tightly knit herds, fiercely protected by a dominant stallion. Armed with bone-crushing kicks and a ferocious bite, stallions will not hesitate to attack hyenas and other threats to their harem. These preemptive strikes are often the best form of defense. However, hyenas are not the most formidable hunters on the open plains. A lioness, the undisputed queen of the African savanna. Weighing in at 180 kilos, she's not only the largest African carnivore, she has one weapon that makes her almost unstoppable. She hunts in a group. Lions are the only big cats to consistently hunt in teams. As a unit, they saunter across the plains, provoking fear amongst the enemy ranks. The zebra pull together, a shield wall of hooves and strong teeth protecting a foal. But they must hold their nerve. This is why lions hunt as a team, to intimidate. With the herd spooked, the lions separate. One will lead the final charge while the others form a cordon around the target. Lions succeed due to a combination of brute force and teamwork. The whole pride comes together to share the spoils. They can gorge on up to a quarter their own body weight if left undisturbed. So they share food grudgingly. Far from the bounties of Africa's rich plains is the world's driest continent outside of Antarctica, Australia. Its vast arid interior, known as the Outback, covers a landmass larger than the entire European Union. There is little food on these open plains. Only one mammal is able to survive here as a top predator: the dingo. They often hunt in packs, but this juvenile male has been pushed out of his childhood den and must now search for his food alone. Using a highly sophisticated sense of smell, he can trail targets from hundreds of meters away. Prey is so sparse, the dingo has been weaponized as a long-distance hunter. Today, his nose has led him to a hefty prize. A small herd of feral pigs. The adults are large and have strong teeth. They could easily rip open a dingo, especially an inexperienced one. There are a few piglets, but they're well protected. He needs to separate them. He flushes the pigs out into the open. On the run, the herd might leave a piglet behind. The adults guard their young, but dingoes are armed with incredible stamina. They can keep up a high-speed chase for over 4 kilometers. Few predators have such endurance. One female and her piglet finally pull away from the group, and the dingo is in hot pursuit. He's not strong enough to tackle his prey to the ground, so instead he must snap at the foot to try to injure a leg. A near miss, but he still has some energy in reserve. A tiring, well-won victory. Stamina is a powerful weapon for any hunter and is wielded effectively by the dingo even at this young age. On such arid lands, water is as hard to find as food. Drinking holes are oases for thirsty travelers, like giant flocks of budgerigars making their way over the plains. Recent rains have boosted the population, but drought has now returned, forcing tens of thousands of individuals to congregate at one shrinking waterhole. It's the only water for hundreds of kilometers. As the budgies descend, brown falcons prepare for battle. Armed with a powerful hooked beak, they can sever the neck bones of small birds with one bite. The budgerigars can see the danger, but they must quench their thirst. The falcons move in, hoping for an easy meal. But the budgerigars don't go down easily. Like a shoal of fish moving at high speed, the entire group suddenly shifts and changes direction. The superflock presents as an impenetrable wall, a confusing blur of bright green and beating wings. Together, the budgerigars are a daunting, united force. The falcons change tactics and dive through the swarm, an attempt to generate panic. It's psychological warfare, and frantic budgerigars collide in mid-air, dropping from the sky like stones. The hunters swoop in on the fallout. Wave after wave of budgerigars run the gauntlet. While it seems like an unfair fight, thousands of budgerigars will make it through. For them, sticking to the flock has proven a winning defense strategy. The battle between prey and predator is not the only threat animals have to contend with. For some, the dangers are even closer to home. A female wedge-tailed eagle returns to her nest after a successful hunt. 3 days ago, she was feeding 2 chicks. But wedge-tailed eagles are born fighters, and the battle begins in the nest. Chicks can devour half their body weight each day. So to cut the competition, the first to hatch is driven by instinct to kill off its siblings. As the firstborn and largest of the chicks, it usually succeeds. For some, the arms race starts even within the family. Further inland, in the heart of Australia, temperatures can push 50 degrees centigrade. And even in a good year, rain will only fall a couple of times. Such extreme conditions require extreme weapons. Like these cone-shaped pits engineered by one desert dweller. With their perfectly angled slopes, these craters are insect death traps. With an ambush predator at the center. Antlion larvae attack with venomous pincers. However, their striking distance is short. Passing ants just have to stay out of reach. Armed with 6 long legs, if it were the size of a human, an ant could clock 50 kilometers per hour. But the slopes are treacherous, and the ant's feet begin to slip in the fine sand. It's then the antlion opens up the catapults, raining volleys of boulders down on its victim's head. the ant is done for. Death craters are not the only dangers ants face in the desert. With such little food on offer, many larger animals also hunt for insects. Australia's aptly named Thorny Devil looks as though he's truly armed and ready for battle. Although he feeds exclusively on ants. His short, sticky tongue can lap up over 1,000 a day. His impressive armor, however, is used to face another foe: deadly thirst. Too tiny to travel long distances to water, the Thorny Devil instead harvests his own. When the desert is covered in dew, his spikes collect the water and funnel it down grooves into his mouth. For some, the arms race is more about surviving extreme conditions. Although the devil's thorns also help to deter predators. A good precaution, as more venomous hunters are found here than anywhere else on the planet. The deadly eastern brown. He preys on small rodents. Yet from his fangs flows venom that would fell a human within minutes. So potent is his bite, it seems a bit of overkill for prey as small as a mouse. But rodents are quick, and snakes have no limbs or strong jaws to restrain their quarry. They must kill with just one strike. He hunts actively, patrolling the desert. Today, however, it is he who needs to be cautious. A giant is on the prowl. A 2-meter-long, venomous killing machine. And one of the largest lizards on the planet, the Perenti. Rodents are not enough to fill such a beast. He is a cold-blooded snake killer. His forked tongue picks up a chemical scent trail left by the eastern brown. Unlike the snake, he can also raise himself up on all 4 legs to catch glimpses of fleeing prey. Both weapons arm the Perenti to chase down fast-moving targets, even when they go underground. It's not known whether Perentis are immune to venomous bites. Perhaps they are just brave. It takes one brute to take out another. With such monsters on the prowl, some have changed their entire existence in order to survive. Like the world's ancient mammals who once went underground to escape the danger of the dinosaurs, they live under the cover of darkness. The tiny fat-tailed Dunnart comes out in the dead of night. Although just 9 centimeters long, this marsupial is, surprisingly, a ferocious hunter. Her game of choice is insects. But how does she track them down at night when they are so well camouflaged? She has an astounding superpower, one possessed by only a handful of mammals: ultraviolet vision. Most leaves reflect ultraviolet, but insects do not. So to a Dunnart, the profile of a grasshopper stands out like a black spot. An easy victory for a predator with secret powers. It is thought that Dunnarts could belong to an ancient order of mammals for whom such abilities were common, a weapon she has retained in order to survive in such a desolate landscape. Some animals of the plains have to survive not the blistering heat, but the freezing cold. On the prairies of North America, winter comes hard and fast. This coyote has spent the summer months fattening up on an abundant supply of prey. Armed with keen vision, a sharp sense of smell, and a top running speed of 60 kilometers an hour, he is a formidable opponent. But soon the burrowing rodents he savors will be locked away under meters of snow. The coyote's entire range has been blanketed. All that is left is a deafening silence. The vole makes snow and ice its shield. Burrowing deep beneath the surface, the family stays warm and is close to its food stores. They smugly bunker down for the cold months ahead. Above ground, the coyote is not deterred. With most of his weapons rendered useless, he must rely on his precision hearing. Timing is everything. Launch too soon, and the vole escapes. He must wait until his radar locks perfectly onto his target. The coyote is armed to exploit even the silence of winter. The change of the seasons always brings with it new challenges. As snow begins to melt on the prairies, bison come together in their thousands. Soon the males will fight in one of the greatest pitched battles on the planet. Sheer bulk is their weapon of choice. Each weighs over a ton. The head alone is a massive 180 kilos. Swung by a powerful neck, it becomes a terrifying battering ram. The enemy they face is not a predator, but one another, in skirmishes that will determine which males will be able to mate. However, the fighting has its costs. By the end of the rut, the males will have fought so often and so hard that they've lost a quarter of their body weight. They emerge from the season battered and starved. This juvenile male is so exhausted, he couldn't keep up with the herd, so he's been left behind. As the largest animals on the prairie and wielding fearsome horns, bison usually command respect from predators, but one this week draws attention. A grey wolf emerges from the woods. He sizes up his enemy. Even a frail bison bull is a formidable opponent and could gore and kill a wolf. The wolf, however, is a highly discerning hunter, a predator whose most useful weapon is the ability to assess quickly the odds of overcoming its prey. If he's judged correctly, the wolf will feed for days. However, if he has miscalculated, he is now risking his life. The bison is surprisingly agile. With most of its weight centered over the front hooves, it can pivot quickly. The wolf's reaction speed is faster, only just, keeping him millimeters from the bull's deadly horns. The pair duel for over 4 hours. Finally, the bison succumbs to exhaustion. The wolf has chosen his target well. Despite the dangers of male-on-male combat, it's an incredibly common phenomenon across the world. And nowhere else is that more obvious than on the fertile plains of Africa. While males are almost always ready to mate, females are often unavailable, either pregnant or with young at foot. With not enough females to partner with, many males have developed extraordinary weapons to fight for the right to reproduce. Horns are the most popular choice. They come in a variety of shapes. But relative to the size of the individuals who carry them, all of these weapons are massive. Males haul them around all year to use them for just a few short weeks, when in the rutting season, their swords are finally unsheathed. Competition on the African plains can be so fierce, some prefer to just get above it all. Standing at over 5 meters high, giraffes are the tallest living land mammal. And almost half their length is in their neck. Most people assume this is so giraffes can tower over other herbivores on the plains to feed on tall trees their rivals can't get at. However, long necks can also be used for combat and are put to use by male giraffes with devastating effect. This young bachelor will soon be in his prime. To establish his position, he can't just sit on his haunches. If the bachelor wants a hope of mating, he must challenge another to a duel. Pushing and shoving, they size each other up. Then they begin shelling out jabbing blows. With skulls as heavy as 13 kilos and adorned with short horns, a well-targeted hit can shatter bone. Clashing their necks like swords, each tries to land a knockout strike. The bachelor's rival begins to tire. He pauses. And without much fanfare, moves away. The young bachelor is victorious. Elsewhere, the ritual of male combat gets even stranger. In Australia, female red kangaroos have spent 12 months rearing their young to maturity. Soon the joeys will become independent, and that means their mothers will be ready to mate again. In the off-season, the males have spent their time building up their enormous biceps. Kangaroos are some of the most muscular animals on the planet. Over half their body weight is pure muscle. These bodybuilding giants flex their chests to impress the females and intimidate potential rivals. However, it's not all just for show. When two evenly matched competitors come face to face, they assess each other's ability to throw dangerous punches and powerful double-legged kicks. If neither is willing to back down, it's game on. The less dominant male usually initiates the fight. Powered by his strong tail, he can unleash over 10 kicks a minute to destabilize the larger male. Heads are flung back out of reach of razor-sharp claws. The larger male seems willing to finish things off. But the aggressor keeps the attacks coming. Not ready for another beating, the larger male throws in the towel. Male competition produces the largest weapons in the animal kingdom, but many females are well armed in different ways. In the Australian outback, a superb fairy wren feeds her newly hatched chicks. Their dashing father is also devoted to them. Fairy wrens mate for life. But the female is not willing to put all her eggs in one basket. She has the smarts to attract more than one male. In total, she has 3 young lovers, all still sprouting their adult plumage. These bachelors provide food for the family. It's a successful covert operation run by a motherly mastermind. With 4 males providing for her young, their survival is almost guaranteed. In return, she mates with her lovers, mixing up the genetic diversity of her chicks. Her dedicated mate doesn't seem to mind, because he also has romances on the side. In fact, fairy wrens are so promiscuous, the majority of chicks aren't related to their father at all. The arrangement seems to work for everyone and ensures fairy wrens as a species survive where others may fail. Not all relationships are so harmonious. It's a sad fact that lying, thievery, and murder are successful strategies in the war for survival that is the natural world. Strategies employed even by some of the species we admire the most. The mother cheetah has finally had some luck. She's taken down a young Thomson's gazelle. She searches for a hidden spot where she can feed in peace. She is cautious, and for good reason. A pride of hungry lions is on the prowl. As the largest predators in Africa, lions don't need to make all of their kills. They are partial to daylight robbery. Usually the cheetah avoids hunting when these thieves are in the neighborhood. On the open plains, there is nowhere to hide from them. But with cubs to provide for, she's taken a risk. And now she faces an ambush. The thugs quickly take possession of the carcass and dig in for a feast. In close combat, strength dominates over speed. As the sun soars over the plains, the cheetah faces a new threat. Fire is the most indiscriminate killer of all. A grassland blaze can sweep across the plains at 20 kilometers an hour, devouring everything in its path. On the way back to her cubs, the cheetah has been stopped in her tracks. She'll have to wait it out. Hours later, the mother finally approaches the thicket where she last left her cubs. She moves them every day or so for safety. She hears a sound. Something's not right. The lionesses are lying in wait. The cheetah tries to circle around, provoking a charge from one of the lions. She backs off, but not too far. She won't abandon her cubs. However, her worst fears have already come true. Her cubs are dead, killed by the lions. The removal of future enemy soldiers while they are still defenseless young is not uncommon. 1 out of every 2 cheetah cubs are eliminated by lions. The mother can do nothing but watch. The battle is lost for the cheetahs, but the war for survival goes on. Usually those with the biggest weapon systems succeed. Yet sometimes, somehow, the underdogs manage to cling on. Hours later, the female cheetah hears a sound in a nearby tangle of grass. A tiny survivor scrapes through. Only by keeping her wits about her will the cheetah be able to protect her remaining cub. Even the fastest hunter over land needs more than one weapon to thrive. Strategy is what will determine her family's survival in the most exposed animal arms race on the planet.